See, fantasy by its nature is a healthy thing if when it's done in a healthy way. That's what part of it is for. It's also a thinking process. You think through in a different realm of fantasy where you can consider things you wouldn't even normally consider in a conscious state, because some of them will touch on topics that you don't want to associate yourself with. But nonetheless, you actually, it's like a dream. You can do things in a dream you wouldn't normally do in real life. But through that dreaming process, you're actually learning something about nature itself. So fantasy is a good thing, but like all needs that we have, you'll find that big business and then the government institutions that want to control you want to exploit those needs. They always exploit a drive or a need to the maximum. And so they're exploiting fantasy, have been doing it since the advent of books, and then followed up by cinema, as they called it, and which is just amen, is backwards if you speak it in the spoken. And then it was followed by television. Mm-hmm. So they exploit your basic natural self for their own ends, and we don't realize it because we fall into it through a natural inclination, but then it's exploited.
Well, we're trained from the start, right?
Absolutely, and as are your parents. And if your parents are addicted to it, you won't question it.
In kindergarten is the garden of children that they can grow and cut up and put into the bigger salad.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. And then that's where they put you into kindergarten, and actually that's where they weed you out.
Yeah,
they put the brighter ones and so on. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, nice talking to you.
Thanks for calling.
Bye.
Now we've got Chris from Texas here. You there, Chris? Hello, Chris.
Hey, Alan.
Yes, go ahead.
Hey, good to talk to you, man. Yeah, I just want to put a plug in for your book. Very, very interesting, very quality material. I got your second book, and reading over that, and it's very good, very good.
It's different for sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely different, and it's like you said, it really makes you think. And like you were just talking about like how, you know, fantasy, it's a natural thing, and I think like the name of the game with these elites is to take everything, you know, good and you know, co-opt it, turn it around and use it and incorporate it into their system, you know, and I think like, you know, Christianity is one thing that they've done and perverted and twisted around, and I wanted to ask you specifically about. You know, you talked about the Christianity being a continuum of, you know, the sun god and that sort of thing. And my question is, where is the source material for this? Because I try to research and find out more about it. And I know there's that Zeitgeist movie that's out, and they seem to me they're using some nefarious sources. I mean, they quote Masons and you know, Peter Freegan, Frank Gandy, and their work, and those authors, you can't find any kind of where they cite any kind of source material. I don't understand where, you know, where's. I guess my question is, where's the source material? Where are the actual texts that they're going off of for these ideas?
You can go into the other holy books, and it's true. You'll find that the same samenesses, or not just similarities, but samenesses to do with the main hero. It's also in the wording of see, books are books. They're not holy. The message is holy, and it's perverted when you start worshipping the book. Your perception changes from the message, which is important, to believing everything that's written in that book. Once you believe the book is holy, you don't realize it's getting changed with every publication. It's been altered, and you still think it's holy. And that was the trick, of course, they've played down through the ages, even when they wrote it by hand and put them in the temples of Alexandria and other places. It wasn't the only place. Alexandria was only one of many, and they all had copies of the same handwritten scripts. So nothing was ever lost. But we know that in the coding of the Bible itself, if you read them, you always find that God is the Most High God. He does. Now, the Most High God is the sun. And when he's in midsummer, he's at the highest. He's the Most High God. You have all these terms there, And if you look into the original, and you can still get them from Britain, the original books of the King James Bible, you'll find the introduction by the printers promoting the book and giving a praise to King James. And it says right in there, to the Most High, you are the Son, the capital S-U-N. And he also calls him a scion. It's got all the terminology in there. And the previous queen was called that Occidental Star. So it's full of coding through it for those who understand it. And it's true enough. Now in ancient Egypt, they used to have 10 symbols of the zodiac. And they had the sun who went through the 10 symbols. And later in Ptolemy's day, they put up to 12 symbols. And the zodiac has always changed too, because even the ecliptic that we go around, this wobble the Earth has brought in extra constellations that weren't there before. So even the wobble of the Earth wasn't always the same.
Right. I was trying to find the parallels. I know that
you can only find them by going through the actual books, looking at the stories of the hero figure, the terms that he's called, the miracles that he does, and how many disciples he has round him. It's always the same. They die at midwinter because the sun dies, technically speaking. It goes east to the south. It can't go back up to the west again and set. And so that's the death. That's midwinter. And after 3 days of hanging...
I know what you're saying, but I don't see those... I mean, in the Christian religion, I understand there's 12 disciples, and when you're talking about this occult, the knowledge, and the more I look into it, they have allegories and symbols for just about every animal, every number.
That's right.
So you could basically overlay that over just about anything and get a kind of a meaning or that's kind of what I see now. It's kind of almost
what there is, you see, if it's trying to justify a belief, then that's called faith. And you understand, there's no amount of proof or evidence or logic is going to change that, because faith isn't founded upon provable fact. That's why it's called faith.
But I'm asking for sources, and that's
you literally will have to
cite
go into the comparative religions books, especially the ones they had a awful lot of really good, big, thick ones, hundreds of pages, that were sold at the beginning of the 1900s. You'll pay a fair dollar for them, but that's your fastest way to get to the actual parts that you want to find.
Do you have any material that you produce yourself that goes into this more? Like, I know
not too much more, because it's all been done before. It's all been done before, and really it's up to the individual, as I say, to seek out comparative religions, especially the older books.
And I'm looking, but I don't see anything. I mean, I see, they say that Horus and Osiris and that.
It's all, see, the thing is, what you're looking at is right in front of your face, right? It's right in front of your face. The oldest legend you have is about Nimrod and his wife Semiramis, and then the son became Tammuz. And yet the same story with Osiris and his wife Isis, who's always his sister wife, and the son Horus again.
They say it was born of a virgin, but
it's all the same stories. It's all the same stories. It's over and over again, and that cannot be denied. It cannot be denied,
The only problem is where's the citations? I know that we have those, that material, the writings, the Book of the Dead and so on and so forth. Yep. But why don't they go ahead and let that stuff out? And they're clearly wanting to get beyond Christianity and get to this new worldly religion. Why do they put people out like Freak and Gandhi and these people who don't cite sources? I don't understand that.
Well, they'll do it at the right time. At the moment, America who's had the heaviest dose of religion for a purpose. Eventually, the U.S.'s function will be over, and all that was hidden will be revealed. And you'll find a whole bunch of books will be given out to the public then with all the data that you're looking for, if you cannot find it yourself.
Is that why the
it is there?
took
I mean,
over
you can't
Disney
deny
Scroll?
similarity after similarity, and I won't get into the religious disputes because it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. But if you can't see the similarities, it is available in the comparative religious studies.
I'm looking, but I just haven't. I don't. I mean, I keep hitting dead ends, and I'm looking this up, and they're saying, "Well, this is
Well,
paralleling."
Look into comparative religion, but spend the bucks on the old books. Spend the dollars on the old books, and you'll have to do the work to go through them. Because it's really yourself you're going to have to convince.
Mm-hmm.
The battle is inside yourself, you see.
Right.
Okay? Thanks for calling.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And now we've got Red One from Amman, Jordan. Are you there, Red One? Hello?
Yes, hello.
Hello. Go ahead.
Peace be upon you, Alan.
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
I said peace be upon you.
Pardon?
I said peace be upon you.
Peace be upon you too. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm complaining that we're not getting our share of global warming here. If they moved all the snow up to the North Pole, it would be back as it used to be. If they took it from my back garden here, that's how much snow I have.
I will do some supplication for you.
Yes.
Actually, about global warming,
yep.
I immigrated, me and my family, to Jordan, and I've been actually observing the skies for about 10 months now, and I actually cannot see any chemtrails. Could you explain this?
You may be getting it at night. That's one possibility. I know that they used to do it in some parts of the world, some parts of Australia too. They were getting heavily dosed during the day. They complained, and of course they started to do it at night instead. Or else they were doing it outside the cities, and the prevailing winds would bring it across. The only way you can really tell are if you've been watching it for 10 years or more, and you remember what clouds used to look like, you can now identify the new fake ones as they come over because they have strange strands attached to them, and even the shade of whiteness is different in them.
But
so
most
it's
of the
hard
time
to say if they're spraying correctly. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so most of the time it's a really clear blue sky, no clouds at all. 80% of the time.
Yeah. And have you noticed any difference in your temperatures at all?
Yes, some people are saying that actually the temperatures are not normal anymore.
Yes.
So it should be colder than it was in the past.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's maybe warming, but I don't know what the reason for that could be.
Yeah. Well, we do go through cycles of warming and cooling over sometimes over 100-year periods, and people forget that even during the Crusades in the Middle Ages, there was 200 years of the highest heat ever, where even back in Europe they didn't build houses with fireplaces because they couldn't have fires in their home. It was too warm. They had to cook outside, and then it began to cool again, and they had heavier snows over the winters, and so we go back and forth like this. People have been taught that temperature is supposed to be always the same every year. It's not. It never was. So they're using this as an excuse, of course, but they are certainly spraying the skies over Canada and the States. Even California is getting it heavily, and some contacts in China now are telling me they're now seeing the spray as well. Some teachers have told me this. Hold on, and we'll talk about it after these messages.
Okay.